how much time we waste worrying, playing out worst case scenarios in our minds, fixating on things we can't control. Fear is a habit, and like any habit, it can either build your life or tear it down. If you allow uncertainty to dominate your thoughts, if you let the unknown make you anxious, you'll find yourself trapped in a cycle of stress, frustration, and doubt. And the worst part? Most of the things we worry about never actually happen. Faith is the opposite of fear, not blind optimism, not ignoring reality, but a deep, unshakable trust that life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you, even when things don't go as planned, even when you don't have all the answers. Because the truth is, if you live in fear, you'll always be reacting. You'll hesitate, you'll overanalyze, you'll hold yourself back from the opportunities God is putting in front of you. But when you shift into a place of faith, when you truly believe that there is a higher intelligence working in your favor, you start making decisions with confidence. You start taking action not from a place of scarcity, but from a place of certainty. This isn't just philosophy, it's psychology. Your mind is wired to find evidence for whatever you focus on. If you constantly dwell on everything that could go wrong, your brain will filter the world through that lens. You'll see obstacles where there could have been opportunities. You'll see rejection where there could have been redirection. But if you train yourself to trust, to expect that life is aligning exactly as it should, you'll start seeing solutions. You'll start noticing the right people, the right doors, the right ideas showing up at exactly the right time. Now let's be real. Faith doesn't mean sitting around waiting for things to magically fall into place. You still have to show up. You still have to do the work. But there's a massive difference between taking action from a place of stress versus a place of certainty. When you move forward with trust, you bring energy, creativity, and resilience to everything you do. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop getting derailed by every challenge because you know that even when something seems to be falling apart, it's actually falling into place. Think about the moments in your life that felt like a crisis at the time, but ended up being the best thing that ever happened to you. Maybe it was a job you didn't get, only to land something even better. Maybe it was a relationship that fell apart, only to create space for something far more aligned with who you are now. Hindsight always makes the picture clear, but what if you could live your life now with that same level of trust? What if you could operate today with the certainty that 5 years from now, you'll look back and realize everything was happening exactly as it needed to? The key is to stop waiting for clarity before you take action. You don't need to have all the answers, you just need to take the next step and trust that the path will unfold as you move forward. God never gives us the full blueprint up front. He gives us enough light for the next step. Your job is to take it, because at the end of the day, fear is a prison of your own making, but faith is freedom. And the moment you choose to trust instead of worry, you unlock a life far greater than anything fear could ever offer you. You've been there before. You wanted something so badly, an opportunity, a relationship, a dream, and then just when you thought it was within reach, the door slammed shut. Maybe it was a job you were perfect for but didn't get. Maybe it was a person you gave your heart to only to realize they weren't meant to stay. In that moment, it felt like rejection. It felt like failure. But what if it wasn't? In that moment, it felt like failure. But what if it wasn't? What if that closed door wasn't punishment? It was protection. What if what you call rejection is actually divine redirection? The problem is we only see a fraction of the bigger picture. We operate from limited perspective while God sees the entire blueprint. When something doesn't go our way, we assume it's a loss. We get frustrated, discouraged. But what if that opportunity you missed would have led you to something far smaller than what was actually meant for you? What if that relationship you fought so hard to hold on to would have pulled you away from the life you were truly meant to live? Think about the most successful, fulfilled people in the world. They didn't get there by holding on to what wasn't meant for them. They got there because they trusted the process. They understood that every closed door was just a pivot towards something better. Steve Jobs was fired from the very company he created, and that redirection led him to build some of his most groundbreaking innovations. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television, only to go on and build one of the most influential media empires in history. These moments didn't feel like breakthroughs at the time, they felt like failures. But they weren't failures at all, they were necessary shifts They were doors closing so something bigger could open. And that's where most people struggle. They cling to the past. They get stuck in regret, replaying what-if scenarios in their minds. But regret is useless. It's living in a reality that no longer exists. You can't move forward while looking backward. The key is to shift your perspective. Instead of seeing rejection as a roadblock, start seeing it as a signpost. Start understanding that every no is leading you to the right yes. Here's the truth. If something was truly meant for you, nothing could take it away. And if it wasn't meant for you, no amount of effort, no amount of forcing would ever make it stay. The right opportunities don't have to be chased. They align. The right people don't have to be convinced. They connect. So if you're in a season of closed doors, don't let it break you. Let it build you. Let it refine your faith, your patience, your ability to trust in something greater than your own limited understanding. Because looking back, you'll see it. Every failure was actually a setup. Every detour was leading you exactly where you needed to go. And when the right door opens, because it will, you'll realize it wasn't just about getting there. It was about becoming the person who was ready to walk through it. Your mind is the filter through which you experience life. Everything you see, everything you interpret, everything you believe, it all flows through the framework of your thoughts. And here's the reality. Your belief system is either propelling you forward or holding you back. It's either opening doors or keeping you locked in place. The problem is, most people don't even realize that they're living inside a mental prison of their own making. They're waiting for life to change, when in reality, life is just reflecting the beliefs they refuse to let go of. If you believe that life is working against you, you'll find proof of it everywhere. You'll notice the setbacks, the disappointments, the struggles, and you'll say, see, nothing ever goes my way. But if you believe that life is happening for you, even when things don't go as planned, you'll start seeing the lessons. You'll start realizing that every challenge is shaping you, every delay is positioning you, and every so-called failure is just another stepping stone towards something greater. The circumstances haven't changed, only the way you interpret them. And that's what most people don't understand. They think their emotions are just responses to the world around them. But in reality, your emotions are a direct reflection of your focus. What you focus on, you feel. If you focus on problems, you feel stressed. If you focus on lack, you feel frustrated. But if you shift your focus to gratitude, to growth, to possibility, you change your entire experience. It's not magic, it's psychology. Your brain has something called the reticular activating system. It's the filter that determines what you notice. If you decide you want a red car, suddenly you start seeing red cars everywhere. They were always there, but now your brain is tuned into them. The same thing happens with opportunity. The same thing happens with possibility. If you train your mind to look for solutions instead of problems, you'll start seeing them. If you train yourself to trust instead of doubt, you'll start recognizing the doors that God is opening for you. But if you don't change the filter, you'll keep living the same story over and over again. And that's why most people stay stuck. Not because they aren't capable, not because they aren't deserving, but because they never question the beliefs that are shaping their reality. They tell themselves, I'm not good enough, it's too late, I always fail, life is unfair. And then they live out that script, reinforcing it at every turn. But here's the truth. The story you keep telling yourself is the life you keep creating. If you want a different outcome, you need a different belief. So the question is, what do you choose to believe? Do you choose to believe in limitations and scarcity and fear? Or do you choose to believe in possibility and resilience and faith? Because whatever you decide, you will find evidence for it. Your mind is powerful beyond measure, but it will only ever work in the direction you set it. And if you want to see new doors open in your life, you have to stop standing in front of the wrong ones. You have to let go of the beliefs that are keeping you small. Because the moment you change your mind, you change your world. Too many people sit around waiting for a sign, waiting for clarity, waiting for the perfect moment. But life doesn't work that way. God doesn't hand you a map with every step laid out in advance. He gives you a door, but you have to walk through it. You have to take action before you see the whole picture, before you know exactly how it's all going to unfold. And that's where most people get stuck. They think faith means waiting. But real faith means moving forward before you have all the answers. Think about it. If you're driving at night, your headlights don't illuminate the entire road ahead. They give you just enough light to see the next few hundred feet. But as you keep driving, the path keeps revealing itself. That's exactly how life works. If you refuse to move until you can see every turn, every outcome, every detail, you'll stay in the same place forever. But if you trust the process, if you start moving in the direction of your vision, even without all the details, the way forward will unfold as you go. And this is where most people self-sabotage. They let hesitation, self-doubt, and overthinking paralyze them. They wait for absolute certainty before they act, and as a result, they never step into the opportunities that were meant for them. But here's the reality: hesitation kills more dreams than failure ever will. Because when you hesitate, you let fear creep in. You let your mind fill the gaps with doubt instead of faith. And before you know it, the door that was open for you is gone. The people who succeed, the people who create extraordinary lives, are the ones who take action with expectation. They don't just hope things will work out. They move as if they know the right doors will open. They prepare themselves. They develop their skills. They put themselves in environments where growth is inevitable. And when the opportunity comes, they don't hesitate. They step forward with confidence. Think about David before he faced Goliath. He didn't wait for a perfect battle plan. He didn't stand around questioning whether he had the right weapon or enough experience. He stepped forward with what he had. And that's what faith looks like. It's not sitting around waiting for the stars to align. It's preparing yourself, training yourself so that when the moment comes, you're ready. Because when you take action from a place of faith, you don't just hope things will work out, you expect them to. You move differently, you speak differently, you carry yourself differently. And that kind of certainty shapes your reality. So ask yourself, where in your life are you waiting when you should be moving? What decisions are you putting off because you're afraid of making the wrong choice? The truth is, the only wrong choice is standing still. Because even if you take a step and it's not the perfect one, God will course correct you. He will use every experience, every misstep, every lesson to guide you. But he can't steer a parked car. You have to start driving. Because at the end of the day, doors don't open for those who sit back and hope. Doors open for those who knock with confidence, step through with courage, and trust that every step forward is leading them exactly where they're meant to be. Most people want growth without discomfort. They want strength without struggle. But that's not how life works. Every great leader, every extraordinary person, every success story you admire was shaped in the fire of adversity. They weren't just handed their breakthrough. They were forged in the challenges they faced. And yet, so many people run from difficulty. They see obstacles as signs to quit, as proof that they're not meant to succeed. But what if the very thing you're resisting is the thing that's preparing you for what you've been asking for? Think about it. If you pray for patience, do you think God just gives you patience? No, he gives you situations that test your ability to stay calm under pressure. If you pray for strength, he doesn't just hand it to you. He allows you to face challenges that force you to dig deeper, to push harder, to become more than you were before. Every difficulty you face is not a roadblock, it's a training ground. It's conditioning you, developing the mindset, the resilience, and the character you need to handle what's coming next. But here's the problem. Most people don't recognize the process while they're in it. They see struggle as unfair, as a reason to stop trying. They get frustrated. They ask, why me? Instead of asking, what is this teaching me? And because they resist the process, they never receive the reward. The truth is, God will never give you something you're not prepared to handle. He's not withholding blessings. He's making sure you're ready to carry them. Because the weight of success, of responsibility, of leadership, it's heavy. And if you don't develop the strength now, the very thing you've been praying for could break you when it arrives. Look at anyone who's ever done something extraordinary, and you'll see a common thread. They endured. They went through seasons where everything seemed to be working against them. But instead of breaking, they built themselves in the process. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison before he changed a nation. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before he created the light bulb. These people didn't see struggle as the end of the road. They saw it as part of the journey. They understood that challenges weren't there to stop them. They were there to shape them. And that's the mindset you need to develop. You have to stop seeing challenges as proof that you're on the wrong path. Stop waiting for everything to be easy before you commit, because easy doesn't create excellence. Comfort doesn't build champions. You have to be willing to embrace the process, to push through the discomfort, to trust that every difficulty is refining you into the person you were meant to be. So the next time you face a setback, don't ask, why is this happening to me? Ask, how is this preparing me? Because one day you'll look back on this moment and realize it wasn't breaking you, it was building you. And when that day comes, you won't just be grateful for the victory, you'll be grateful for the struggle that made you strong enough to handle it. At some point, you have to decide what kind of life you're going to live. Are you going to stay stuck in fear, constantly second-guessing every move, waiting for some perfect moment to take action? Or are you going to step boldly into the future, trusting that God is guiding your path? Because here's the truth. Faith isn't just a belief, it's a choice to stop looking backward, a choice to stop letting doubt and uncertainty dictate your decisions, a choice to move forward even when you don't have all the answers. Too many people live their lives hesitating, questioning, waiting, and they never realize that waiting is a decision in itself, a decision to stay where they are instead of stepping into what's possible. But faith demands movement. Trust isn't passive. You can't just hope things will work out while refusing to take the steps you know you need to take. At some point, you have to act. You have to stop overanalyzing. Stop waiting for a guarantee. Stop holding yourself back because you don't have all the details. God doesn't give you the entire plan up front. He gives you the next step, and your job is to take it. But this is where most people struggle. They let their need for certainty keep them paralyzed. They think, what if I fail? What if I make the wrong decision? But the real question is, what if you don't move? What if you let this moment pass? And years from now, you look back and realize that fear robbed you of the life you were meant to live, because that's what's really at stake here. It's not about one decision, one risk, one step forward. It's about the trajectory of your entire life. Every time you choose faith over fear, you build momentum. Every time you step forward despite uncertainty, you expand what's possible for you. And this isn't just about achieving success, it's about who you become in the process. The person who hesitates, who constantly plays small, is not the same person who steps forward with confidence and trust. And at the end of the day, that's what life is about. Growth, evolution, stepping into the fullness of who you were created to be. You weren't meant to live a life of hesitation. You weren't designed to sit on the sidelines, watching other people step into their purpose while you let fear hold you back. So whatever it is you've been waiting on, whatever decision you've been postponing, whatever move you've been afraid to make, this is your sign. This is your moment. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop hoping that clarity will come before you act. Step forward, trust that the doors will open as you go, and remember, the only thing standing between you and the life you were meant to live is your willingness to take that first step. Because in the end, it all comes down to this: faith or fear, movement or stagnation, growth or regret. And the choice is yours.